everybody, welcome to We Talkin, a show built around conversation. All things entertainment, sports, religion, life, you name it. I'm your host, Chris, and tonight, We Talkin Star Wars Rogue One.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
Can you be trusted without your shackles?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
We've a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know how to destroy it.
If you're really doing this, I want to help.
Good.
Good.
With me tonight, I have Dwayne. Also, we have Eric. And we're gonna start the conversation off right now. Story. Eric.
Story. Rogue One. We just seen it. This came out the theater. It's a good story. It's a great premise. Honestly, I was very pleased with what they chose to do because it was not predictable. It was something fresh. You can tell that you got a different team of writers behind this one. And besides special effects, besides anything else that you can go to a movie for me, you're always gonna catch me with the story. So I was very pleased with it.
Dwayne, what is your idea of the story? What do you think?
So, like Eric, I love the story. I felt like so for people who know or don't know, right? It's like right in the middle of the original three, and then the prequels, if you will, the ones that Eric doesn't even acknowledge.
Eric hates the prequels. Eric
not the first movie in the whole thing.
Jar Jar Binks.
It's right there in the middle, and I think I have a graphic I'll put up for it. But I love the story, man. I thought, like Eric said, it was fresh. It was part of the Star Wars world, but it felt like its own entity in a way.
Yeah.
And what I liked about it and how they executed it was neat. It was neat and compact. Usually in Star Wars, they're talking about the lords and the kings and the queens, and this one was just, it's this thing, it's these 4 or 5 people, and we're gonna go do this thing, and they stuck to it the whole time. And they gave you hints of like the prequels and the ones after, but it felt like its own thing. It could have been its own thing.
It definitely played to all the movies.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And the story itself, I loved it. It was a different Star Wars for me. Hated Star Wars Episode 8. So this one is perfect for me.
Chris, are you talking about The Force Awakens?
The Force Awakens.
Hold on, no.
When they came out last year?
I'm talking about The New Hope, Force Awakens. It's all the exact same movie that just came out, so that's the one I'm talking about right there.
I've been recruiting for the rebellion for a long time.
We destroyed our home. I fight the Empire now.
I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
Wait, visuals. What do you think about the visuals?
Man, the visuals were top-notch, amazing. So obviously it's Disney, and it's their whole team of just amazingness, bruh. So specific things like costume design, like the attention to detail they paid. My man's like earphones when he's flying and just a little.
Right.
I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm just like, who thinks this far ahead that, extra 259 must have a badge that has and it was so thought out. But then you also had like, Darth Vader's costume. Yeah. And while they could have easily gone like brand new,
updated it,
they kept it nice and cheesy and simple, but clean and effective and just like, they just work, man. So the visuals are super dope. The fly scenes were executed really well, and things like ships, like there's like 50 different ships in one scene. Like the forethought to have like all those different ships and how's this engine gonna look and how's this thruster gonna look and that person's helmet. It was just, the visuals were really dope, man. And then like the big reveal of bringing up like old characters who don't even exist anymore, but to like do some CG work, and that was really dope, man.
Disney definitely had throwaway money. That one, they definitely threw away some money in that one. Eric, what do you think of the visuals?
Visuals. So the Star Wars brand, whether you're talking about right now 2016 or way back to 1977, is that they've always been a step ahead visually. Just always. Even back then, what they were doing in 1977 was way ahead of their time then, and they've kept it consistent in that way. So whether or not you've got a fantastic Star Wars movie or one that lacks substance, the visuals are always going to be quality. And this one is no different. I mean, like Dwayne was saying, I mean, just to look at it, pretend that you had to mute it for a second and all you had was to look, you would be dazzled the whole 2 hours that you were watching it. So I really enjoyed it from that standpoint. And then what I was thinking about too, because I know we're not trying to give away too much just now, but the part with the character that was CGI, what it reminded me of is that Disney is an animation company. So it was like, okay,
I actually didn't think of that.
We are the owners of animation.
That makes a lot of sense.
And so like we're about to show you how far ahead we are in the game when it comes to animation. That was animation at its finest. No one's done animation like this
at all.
So whether you're talking about that one character that blew everybody's mind away, or the Jungle Book or whatever else, Disney is ahead and continues to be ahead when it comes to animation.
This is the same Disney with Motorboat Mickey, like the flip book. They're animation. That's what we do.
When their very first feature-length film, Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, that's their first feature-length film ever.
I know that.
It was so ahead of the time then. It was, no one had ever seen anything like it at that point, and they're still doing it today. So visually, can't touch Star Wars.
Before I get into it, Eric, you are a person that hates CGI. Period. So about that one character, tell me what you're like. What were you thinking?
Well, it's not that I hate CGI. It's that when you rely on that more than the story, I'm gonna automatically lose. I'm gonna lose contact with you. As a filmmaker, as someone that's trying to engage me or entertain me or convince me that something is happening, when you completely take away the creativity of working in a film studio
and just put it to the back,
just put it all on CGI, that's where I disconnect. So it's not that I hate CGI. It's that when directors are so heavy on it that it's almost like they're insulting you. Like, okay, well, we don't even have to give you a good movie because we just gotta give you all of these computer effects to look at to distract you. And I literally do feel insulted sometimes by that. So it's not that I hate CGI, but the prequels, horrible mixes.
Great movie, by the way.
CGI.
Are they great movies?
Great movies, and I love the fact that they redid all the old ones.
And say great?
Right.
That's a lot.
I want graphics right under here saying great.
Oh my gosh.
All right. My take on visuals itself, I thought it was a beautiful world. They definitely expanded the world even more than they have. But I also love the fact that what you were saying, that you can bring back all these old movie outfits, these old, even the computers with the red button, blue button, the little knob. I mean, things like that. It didn't take away from the story and how advanced it has came. It all meshed very well. It was a very well put together visual scene for everything. It wasn't too heavy on the CGI. It was well complemented by the world that they put everything in. So I thought it was great.
So one more thing on the visuals real quick. I think, so I was very, even though I've known, and you guys know, I've known the Star Wars world and I've appreciated it, I never try to overstate my like for it, because I understand that the people that saw it originally when it came out, it's a different level of value for them, right? But I think where it's at visually today is what people felt and almost understood and made up for in their mind when it originally came out. Because even right now, it's not that they're doing something crazy. Like, we talk about the outfits being very simple, orange, green, whatever, but it just finally matched. I'm thinking George Lucas's idea, technology is finally caught up to the point.
He saw this here. I was like, I just before my time.
But until then, we're gonna have to get these strings, and we're gonna have to get this boat and move it over. But
the captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Thanks. There isn't much time. Every day they grow stronger.
Casting. Forrest Whitaker's Lazy eye. How was his eye in this
let's
movie?
talk about Forrest Whitaker's eye.
It was open
for the next several minutes.
It was open at one point, really wide.
Just on Forrest Whitaker, man, just having him on screen for me felt good because he brings like this intensity that nobody else I know can the way that he does.
His character was crazy.
So whether or not it was just like the short amount of times that he got screen time wise, or you know, I could have used more of him in the movie. I liked him and his intensity and what he brought to the film because he was not like any other character in the whole Star Wars franchise, I feel.
Yeah.
Casting in general though, it's on point. I mean, there was no wrong turn with the way that they shot their casting, I don't think. Some movies you can feel like they try too hard to do a certain thing, like to include a certain ratio, demographic, or like you know you can kind of feel it in some movies.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that in this, not at all. I liked some of the relationships that you haven't seen before. Like, I know that kind of goes a little bit more back into the story, but just like some of the duos that were felt in the movie. The lead star, Felicity Jones. People were worried that she was going to be similar to what we saw last year. And of course, Awakens is Rey, and I didn't feel any of that. They did not remind me of each other at all, even though there's like, okay, they're brunettes and these things, like they did not remind me of each other. So that means that goes to the strength of the actress of making sure that she was a lot different than what we've seen before.
It was her own story. It was her own story.
It was her own everything.
Very contained story for sure.
So I was pleased with that. I have some reservations around the Darth Vader persona, but I'll save those.
Okay. Definitely gonna bring that up. Dwayne, what did you think about the casting? How did it work? How did it flow?
So, I mean, a lot of the same. I don't want to like just keep repeating and gushing what everybody's saying. So for those, obviously this is the first time we're talking about it.
Yeah.
We come right out of the theater and we just start talking. Nobody knows what each other's thoughts are, but I think the casting was dope, man. So you had a lot of heavy hitters, and I think it's bold when you get important people to play a role that might be small. Yeah. Like that's bold to me. Like we might not use you but 8 minutes, but we're gonna pick you for it. Yeah. And like Eric said, usually sometimes people cast thinking about the box office or let's cast this guy and let's cast The Rock and then write the character for The Rock.
They do that.
No,
that's a thing.
Not in this. They had their character established and they brought people in that could execute. I want to bring up one guy specifically. His name is Aziz. Hold on. His name is Riz Ahmed. Which one was he? He was Bodhi Rook. So he was one of the Imperial captains. I don't want to say too much, but he was one of the first. And then he's throughout the whole movie. But I actually discovered him earlier this year in a show on HBO. It's a miniseries called The Night Of. It's like an 8-part miniseries. I was telling you guys about it. Yeah. And seeing him in that and then seeing him in this lets me know that whoever casted this was looking for people who can execute, because he's a completely different person. Wow. Just like how Forrest Whitaker is a completely different person in this than you've seen him in anything else. Yeah. So I think whoever did the casting director, the person looking into it, they did a phenomenal job, man. No character was wasted. Yeah. It wasn't just, there was that typical, Star Wars has a paint by numbers theme where we're going to have a main, a supporting, and then we're going to have the goofy Jar Jar thing happening.
Always.
And even that character wasn't like overdone, and it was like solid enough. So casting was on point, man. They knocked it out of the park.
I love the fact that they didn't, Forrest Whitaker is a very big known name, but it kind of was like, they have not these big megastars in this movie, to me at least. I didn't see a lot of big megastars in it. Right. I don't even actually know all the names, but I think what you're saying, yes, what was her name? The girl, the main character?
Jones.
What else is she in? She in anything that I know?
So she's in The Theory of Everything.
Everything?
Or I think that's the name of the movie. And like some stuff that I have not ever seen. Yeah.
But she's in The Amazing Spider-Man. The Andrew Garfield one.
Yeah, she was in part 2.
I didn't even actually know that. I didn't know. Well, it was not Amazing Spider-Man, but
Inferno, Monster Calls, Collide.
Monster Calls comes out later this year.
This year.
I think just that knowing like, hey, Disney has gotten so, I won't say comfortable, but they're always at the Super Bowl to me. They can't do any wrong right now, especially when it comes to the casting. So I'm very impressed with this. I haven't seen, I can't say a bad thing about anything in the casting realm of it.
Okay.
Yes, you're right there. There's a comic relief that it's like, oh, we're intentionally putting this in here. And we're gonna throw a lot at you, but that's Disney, and I'm not mad at it.
No, that's Star Wars.
And that's Star Wars. Yes,
since R2D2 and your man, you know. So
absolutely.
There is a 97.6% chance of failure.
He means well.
Overall movie experience. Eric, tell me what your overall movie experiences was.
Right, so everything so far, I've had nothing but positive things to say. There's a lot of positive things to say about this movie. There is. I don't know that I loved it overall. And that's kind of like the downside of Star Wars itself, because there's always going to be a huge amount of hype around it. And whether you watch the reviews before you go into the movie, or whether you ignore every trailer and everything just to kind of give yourself a pure experience, either way, it's kind of like it's hard not to be let down a little.
Yeah.
Because of how important Star Wars is to us in America. I mean, it is a culture.
Yeah.
Star Wars is a culture.
Yeah.
Like you have Black people, you have Hispanic, and you have Star Wars. Like, it's a culture. It's like
when you fill out an application, it says Caucasian, African American, or Star Wars.
Or Star Wars.
What do you identify as?
People get so deep into it that it's hard not to have the expectations set so high, the bar set so high. It was long for me. It got boring to me at times. Like, and I was embarrassed that I was feeling that. I was trying to make excuses for the movie, like, no, I just had a long day today, and no, it's not because it's boring. It's because I'm tired, and am I catching a cold or something? No, like, it's not. It wasn't any of those things. This movie is too long, and it's too much talking. And there were some parts where they relied so much on that comic relief to carry the scenes. And that felt a little bit awkward. To me, as great as the comic relief was, I was never tired of him. But I felt like every scene relied on his being there to make it engaging, to make it entertaining. So if you're gonna put it off on one character, and you have all these great characters to use, then you've lost something in the writing itself and in the presentation of the writing. So I feel like I want to see it again to get like a firm. Like if I had to give a letter grade, I wouldn't be able to do that right now. But I did not love it. I did not love it.
Dwayne, you're up. Overall movie experience.
Overall experience. So overall experience, I hated it. I'm messing with you. No, I'm just gonna keep gushing about it. I think the overall experience. So again, I want to make it clear, like my introduction to the Star Wars world was when I was about 12 to 14, when the prequels came out. And then I saw the original 3 very recently. So I feel like I have and Eric said it perfectly, Star Wars has its own world, and I think with that, a lot of people in the culture, they have this like fanatical thing about it, and this thing that they go on in their own and probably
like it was in the movie theater today.
Like the guy in the theater today, like just
that dude was
something happened and his mind went somewhere that wasn't even in the theater.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for me, I get to kind of just see like the progression and what was the, and so starting with The Force Awakens, bro, it's like I appreciate these more recent ones, and then Rogue One, I just felt like it's its own. I feel like it's its own thing. I said it against, but the overall experience, man, I think the pacing was really good. I think it gave you enough of like a balanced like talk, blah 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 blah. I do think it was like 20 minutes too long. I feel like you got caught up in that. Oh, we have this really good idea, and we have a good idea for a funny scene, so we did this whole thing to set it up that doesn't really pay off. But outside of that, I think the pacing and the editing was like really strong, and the flow of it. But like Eric, it was a touch too long. But the overall experience of it, I felt good about it, man. It felt like a summer blockbuster in December, or a Christmas blockbuster to end the year. So overall experience was solid, man. There was definitely some nitpicky stuff, but it was cool.
I definitely agree with both of you. The movie itself, is way better than The Force Awakens.
Oh my gosh.
For some reason, this man.
What do you hate about The Force Awakens?
It's the same movie as A New Hope.
Awakens
Let's
was
just
not
make A New
hateable.
Hope again.
No, they're all the
let's
same.
just
No,
do this.
They're all the same.
This
They're all
is.
the same.
Let me tell you, I like Rogue One better than I like The Force Awakens. All right. Definitely what you're saying. Yes, they relied a lot on his comic relief.
Right.
They and something about like you always have to have a Jar Jar Binks. It's like the BB-8s and the Jar Jar Binkses and I don't even know.
R2.
The R2. Exactly.
That's why I think it's actually true to form. It's true to Star Wars form.
They always rely on it, and every time they're in the scene, that's what we expect, and that's cool. I do want to see it again. We were pretty close. We came on a Thursday. We didn't think this was going to be this pack, or at least I did. They knew. I didn't. So we were really close. I think I want to see it one more time to kind of give it a definitive. But for right now, I'm interested enough to go see it again.
I was gonna say I would do that with you, or even if we do it separately.
Yeah.
Because I do want to see it again too. I definitely do want to say that. Like it's not a bad movie. I don't want to like. That's not my stamp on the review. It's not a bad movie. So I would like to see it again too, man.
Wait to go see it. Go see it. A must-see movie. What is it? Should they wait? What is it? Dwayne?
I think it's a must-see in theaters. So I'll be the third. I want to go see it again, and I anticipate liking it more.
Yeah,
even when I go see it again,
Yeah,
because I liked it so much now, and there was some low parts for me. But I think seeing it again, I'll like it even more. So
I think I will too.
I think it's a definitely go see it right now while the hype is still real.
What would you tell? You tell them go see it in theaters.
Yeah,
wait to get home.
No. Go see it now because just kind of like on a more social level. There's so much tense things going on around us. This is a fun thing to do. This is light. This is not heavy. You don't walk out feeling heavy or bogged down. You just watch. It's a fun thing. Everybody knows about Star Wars. Even the people that don't really like are fanboys or whatever still have enough love for Star Wars to have a good time, have a good experience. You do not have to see all the other ones necessarily.
No.
If you, I mean, it would help in some places, but if you haven't seen anything, you could still probably enjoy this movie on some level. So I recommend it. It's better than the prequels, everybody. And so if you've seen all 8 movies or all 7 movies so far, then you know what I'm talking about when I say it's better than the prequels. And so
prequels are phenomenal.
There's that.
Prequels are phenomenal. Force Awakens was terrible.
Is it? Force Awakens
was a terrible.
Force Awakens,
A New Hope, Force
and
Awakens.
Rogue One
It was
are better
like
than any other Star Wars.
this will be a different.
I'll be that guy.
Hold on. We are going to do later on. We will do a full show regarding all the Star Wars. We'll go through it. We'll give our list of the best and the worst. But for right now, The Force Awakens is the worst. I think you guys should go see it. I definitely think you guys should go see this movie. Exactly what they said. It was a great time. It's fun with fans that are like diehard Star Wars fans. You hear people yelling and chanting, and it was fun. That was a fun part of the movie for me. I laughed.
We had a good crowd.
There was a guy next to Dwayne that was literally
twitching in his seat.
Twitching, screaming,
and that did something for me.
Yeah, it was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You better, you better go.
Tell him.
And chanting.
But other than that, guys,
You want to get into any spoilers real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about some spoilers. Everyone dies. I'm not gonna lie.
Spoiler alert.
I'm not gonna lie. It's a spoiler alert. Everyone dies. It wasn't a love story. What you guys? Eric, tell me a spoiler.
Yeah. So I mean, we can go with that because even though it was like you were kind of jokingly saying it's kind of true that most of the main cast. But that part right there made me kind of think about Star Wars. It helped me to see it as a war.
Yeah.
When other movies,
ongoing
an
war.
actual like confrontational
not
battle.
pretty.
Yeah.
When the other Star Wars movies weren't necessarily as much on the war aspect of it. So you got a lot of that with this movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like you really felt more like a military on the ground kind of a situation where people's lives were threatened and in danger.
Yeah.
The whole time. It wasn't just one galactic battle scene and that was it. They were fighting this whole movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's my spoiler, is that it is a Star War. It's a Star Wars movie for sure. True to the name. You know, the other things that I could spoil right now, man, I don't want to, because you need to find out. You need to find out about it.
I'll spoil it.
Don't worry, I'll tell you everything.
No, that's actually the main spoil is that there's a lot of deaths, and that's what I was kind of getting at earlier with they'll cast somebody who's historically big and kill them off.
Yeah.
And I think it had to be that way. I think the death that happened, it would have been so cheesy to not do it.
Right.
It's again where it fits into the story.
Yeah, it wouldn't
it's a
make
piece
sense.
of just because we've gotten used to Harrison Ford being in 8 movies, and it doesn't mean
all the
everybody
heroes
should be.
always stand alive.
You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense to me. Remember, we're fighting a war, and people die in wars, and most people died in this movie. And I thought that was awesome.
That is awesome. It makes me think too that means they're probably not going to try to squeeze a sequel.
Right. And it was the daughter of the girl for listening.
That's good. That's good.
They can't squeeze that in.
Don't do that. That forces you to have to cast again and write more stories and be more creative.
Did you guys get attached to anybody?
Oh, I got attached to
Tell them the comic relief.
I think the comic relief. I mean,
K2.
at first I had to warm up to him.
K2S.
Yeah.
But then once he rolled, I think he was sprinkled nicely, and I think they killed him off. They killed him off well. I didn't really get too attached to anybody. I didn't get too attached. I kind of anticipated death.
Yes.
So I didn't get too.
100% agree with that.
But
100% agree with that.
I can't think of anybody I was attached to.
I didn't get attached to anybody either.
Enough to be invested.
I like the duo, the blind guy.
Yeah. What was his name? What's the blind guy's name?
And his friend. I don't know. I got kind of attached to them.
The blind guy, especially.
Yes. Because
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen.
I need to find out what else is in, because I hear he's a big guy somewhere.
Because of their on-screen chemistry and like what they brought to the cast and the story.
And they weren't overdone at all.
They were not overdone. They were probably even underutilized.
Just enough to make you want more.
So I was a little connected to their chemistry.
Is James Earl Jones still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. He is in there.
That's really him.
That dude is in there. Okay.
So was Fresh Prince that died. I mix them up all the time.
I got 2 things. I got 2 things. With those two, with the duo, I wanted to see why did they even care to be there? They kind of got tagged along, but
that's a good point.
They kind of they didn't. You're right, they didn't develop it at all. You had something to say about Darth Vader.
Say that again? The duo.
The blind guy.
The same duo.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the main duo. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're right.
You said you had something to say about Darth Vader.
I mean, nothing like huge. I just
his big neck. His neck was
that's
bigger.
a part of it.
His big shower.
Like what?
Was it a milk shower?
What is it? Milk bag? How does plastic gain weight? Like it's plastic. No.
And he'd have had that thick of a neck in the 6th one.
So maybe you guys are wrong for thinking he only had one helmet.
That's true.
He has to change clothes.
Right.
He has to go to the dry cleaners.
I'm wearing this one this
That's his
year.
laundry day helmet.
My God, was it? That neck was thick. I was like,
listen,
Darth Vader's neck. Darth Vader's neck should be a hashtag. Darth Vader's neck.
For those who have seen the very first 3 movies, as many times as I have, the very first 3, you get kind of used to, you accidentally memorize some of Darth Vader's mannerisms and things like that when he's on screen. And for me, it was very obvious that this was a different person playing him.
Absolutely.
Just from the body language to even some of the things that they had him do. Not that it was bad, but it was, to me, this is a whole new Darth Vader. The only thing the same is obviously the mask and then the person who voiced him from the beginning, but even the character in the voice. Now, granted, James Earl Jones is probably a lot older and everything, but just his character, he was just different. This is a different Darth Vader.
This Darth Vader had a swish.
He did.
I thought it was a woman. He came out and
he was sashaying down the catwalk.
I think this is gonna be a reveal.
Right.
Girls world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was gonna squeeze in some kind of.
His walk was kind of interesting.
He got hips. He got a big neck and hips.
I'm just saying the milk bath. All right.
But since we're in spoilers, one more spoiler. That reveal when he hit that, when he was in that dark, and that saber came out. No lightsabers in this movie. One scene of lightsaber. That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
And I thought that was super cool. It showed that you don't have to rely on those same tropes to get through something. But when they used it, That was a cool
went in.
moment. That was a
He
cool
went in.
moment. That was a cool moment for me.
Tell us what you think. What did you guys think of the movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let us know. Comment below. Like, don't forget to share. Also, if you guys have any comments, email me at wetalking1gmail.com.